Gerry LaFemina, poet, musician, professor, editor, critic. Lots of accolades there. Is that what they're called? Accolades.
Accolades.
Not accolades.
I have some acolytes too.
Accolades, yeah. Well, we won't talk. We won't talk about them. Okay, very good. So I understand you're from Brooklyn.
I was born in Brooklyn, grew up on Staten Island and the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
I see. Italian, no doubt.
Half.
Oh, half. Okay.
The other half is Polish.
You are the lead guy and main honcho in the punk band called The Downstrokes. Certainly that isn't the first band you've started or been with. What was the first band, and was it punk?
I was in a New York punk and hardcore band in the 80s called Expletive Deleted. We were a CBGB brat band from like 83 to 88 or so, and then sort of ran on fumes through 90. I was in a ska band in Michigan called Tom Collins and the Cocktail Shakers, where I was the lead singer and occasional accordion player. And then I was on musical hiatus for about 15 years until I moved to Western Maryland. I was in a band for a long time with Mike Holland called The Furious Hours, and we packed up in about 2008 or 2009. And then the current band, The Downstrokes, we started in about 2013, but we didn't really get to a core lineup and being the band we are now till about 2017.
So what, as you reflect back on the band and the evolution of the band from its inception to where you are today, main barriers or difficulties, this endeavor of you, this pursuit of yours, because you have other pursuits too.
One of the great joys of being in a band as opposed to being a writer is that bands are inherently collaborative, which I love, and one of the biggest shortcomings of being in a band are that they are inherently collaborative. So the original lineup of the Downstrokes, we had members who didn't want to play out. And so, being a basement band or being a band that plays, in Frostburg or Cumberland once in a while, that's all well and good, but you don't really get better. You get better as a band by playing out and really audience testing those songs. And so it wasn't until the lineup became this lineup that wanted to not just make music, but be a band. Be on the road, record music, get better, get tighter, that things worked out. And so, I always say it's all about personalities. You have to find the right group of people that you want to spend a significant amount of time with and that you can create with. I'm the principal songwriter, but everybody contributes to every song, and songs evolve. And one of the ways songs evolve is by playing them and seeing how audiences respond. And when you don't do that enough, the songs don't evolve, and so you start to feel stagnant.
Right. Who are the other members in your crew there that bring their chops to the table and help put on your productions?
Well, Robin Summerfield is our he doesn't like the word lead. He's our first guitarist and second singer, as opposed to me as the first singer and second guitarist. Greg Wood is our bass player. We're finally getting him to not be microphone shy. And last but not least is Sammy Edsel, our drummer.
Right. Now, you said you're the principal writer. Do you do only original material?
95% of our set is original material.
Cool. Now, being a writer, I've always been curious, because I do a little bit of writing, but for a musician and a poet, is the idea of a song come first from the words or the music, or do you find a synergy happening simultaneously?
Well, I want to say this: writing poems is very different than writing songs, because when I'm writing song lyrics, I'm thinking about the constructs of a pop song. The verse, chorus, the common meter, etc. So those start in very fundamentally different places. More often than not, I have a melody that appears. It might come from just sort of running through chord progressions and noodling around, and suddenly something happens, and I get a chord progression in my head, and I start going, wow, what can come from this? Sometimes Greg will say, I have this bass lick, or I have this progression, what can we do with it? Robin will occasionally say, I have a verse and chorus, although I don't know which is which, and a title. And I actually like that, because I'm forced to take the title and do something with it. I'm forced to sort of say, where does the title track of the last album, Unsafe at Any Speed, what can I do with that as a lyricist? So he gave me a song for the new record that we're working on called This Is the Last Friday Night. And I had to spend a lot of time thinking about it until I realized it's in the voice of people in their favorite bar, and it's closing down. So literally the last Friday night for this community.
Great. You said writing poetry is different than writing lyrics for a song. Do you see anything analogous in writing lyrics that is similar to white space in poetry?
No.
Where you have big gaps. There's nothing like that in lyrical arrangements.
I don't think so. I'm a firm believer that, and this is always personal aesthetic. I think of a song as having a particular movement, a verse, chorus, that's maybe setting up a problem or setting up a sensibility. And then at the end, that problem needs to be resolved in some way. And so I think of a song, for instance, our song, When Sweet Turned Sour, which establishes this 16-year-old kid who is remembering this relationship. And for the first two verses, you think that he got stood up, she broke up with him. And it's not until you get to the third verse where you realize she committed suicide. And so that's the sort of progression I think of when I think of a song. I think of, the bridge or the middle eighth as being a place where a type of transformation happens. It's the hinge in the song where whatever's been established in the first two verses has to close out. And the song kind of, once I have that chorus, once I have that hook, everything has to orbit it, and I don't feel that way ever in a poem. I have no idea where I'm going in a poem, and more often than not, when I'm writing lyrics, what comes first is the hook.
Snafu. Was that the hook?
Snafu is the hook. That's one of the earliest songs we wrote. It's funny, when Robin joined the band, he sort of thought, oh, this song is a joke, until he listened to the rest of the lyrics, it's very much a political song. We're not a political band, but there's this sense of living is chock full of snafus. We don't get paid enough. We often don't do things we love for work. We often feel like things go wrong. And what I loved about Snafu is that it's such a great call and response song. I love being able to say situation normal. People love it. And it's one of those songs that we can play anywhere. Will be the first time they'll ever seen this band perform, and when we close with that song, the entire audience.
Well, I know you're busy and time is short here. I have one other question, or maybe it's just a statement. Well, we notice that every time you come to play here at the Indian Main, or wherever you play in the area, we see your promotions going on. You're also a promoter, so you can add that to your accolades. Or whomever wants to carry that title. And I know we appreciate it. And how is it that you do that? What's your motivation there?
I think that the arts are important. You know, I don't like being a self-promoter. I'm not one to, you know, post on my Facebook page once a week, hey, check out my books or check out my band. Like, I don't like doing that. I feel uncomfortable doing that. But I also think the arts are important. If I'm doing a reading, or a friend of mine is coming to town and doing a reading, or, you know, you're doing a poetry slam here and you want help advertising that, or, you know, somebody will say to me, as happens, hey, Gerry, my band needs a date. Can you hook us up? I'm going to do whatever I can for that. One, because I think art is important.
We look forward to the Downstrokes, Ghost Road, and Tone Deaf coming back. Thank you.